Welcome. Welcome to Wellness for Educators. This is a restore and reconnect floor practice, yoga practice today. So if you need to pause to kind of set up, that's fine. You can hit pause. We're going to do this entire practice on the floor. So if you'd like, I have my mat with a blanket on top just to cushion the spine a little bit. So if you want to set up something like that, feel free to. If you have a rug to practice on, that might be an alternative, whatever makes you feel most comfortable. And we're going to start on our backs. And I will give you verbal cues. You may be able to follow. You also are welcome to watch. And if you need to see it and then do it, that's fine too. We're going to take about a half an hour. So coming onto the back, I have my feet on the floor, knees bent, feeling the crease at the top of the thigh, letting the pelvic bowl relax back, and taking a moment to feel the shoulders, the torso, the rib cage, the arms, the neck and head, letting everything kind of yield back to gravity, right? So notice how gravity is affecting your body. And then taking a breath in with the head on straight. Gently turn to look over the right shoulder as you breathe out. Breathing the head back to center. Inhale. Exhale, looking over the left shoulder. Inhaling back to center. Exhaling over. Inhale to center. Exhale over. Inhale to center. We're going to take this one more time with an additional stretch. So I'm going to exhale to my right and gently turn my left palm to face the floor and give a little push. And take an extra breath right where you are. So that pressure through the left palm, stretching up through the side of the left side of the neck. And then gently releasing the hand, release the shoulder, the palm turns back up, and the head comes back to center. Breathing in, exhale, turning left. As you turn left, the right palm turns, presses down into the floor, gives a little push. And just noticing, does it change the range of motion, sensation down the arm? How's that feel? And then breathing and releasing, coming back to center. We're going to bring the right knee toward the chest. You are welcome to hold on to the leg anywhere you want. Top of the knee, back of the thigh. You're also welcome to just let the arms continue to be heavy as you circle that right ankle. Nice, big, slow circles. And then the other way. So once more, now we're beginning to activate and lift limbs away from the floor. It can be interesting to let the rest of the body continue to feel like it's yielding. I'm now flexing and pointing the foot, bringing range of motion to the ankle, the ball of the foot, stretching the toes wide, articulating as much as you can of the foot and the ankle, feeling that in the calf and the shin. And then when you're ready, go ahead and press that heel up to the sky. If you find my hamstrings feel quite tight today, you may find a little bend in the back of the knee is a suitable thing for the day for you. Bending and flexing that knee a few times. Flexing and extending a few times, and maybe adding a little bit of movement to the ankle and the foot as well. So pointing as you extend and flex, flexing as you extend, and then pointing. And then let's turn this into a bigger movement like you're pedaling a bicycle with that right leg. So you're going to lower the leg down, hovering just above the floor. Draw the knee in, pressing the heel up. And I automatically just sort of bring my fingertips to my hips to help keep the trunk, remind my hips to stay steady and stable and keep the whole trunk firm. And now I'm going to reverse the direction, pushing the heel up, letting that knee fold in. And kind of feeling into the effect of what happens as that leg is moving through the rest of the body. Can I firm that left foot? And then pausing for a moment here just to feel gravitational pull coming down through this leg. See, and you might even release the knee a little bit, just kind of feeling into the weight and shape of that leg until you are ready. And we're going to fold that knee a little more deeply, letting the ankle rest on the opposite knee. Now, we're going to take the right palm and the left palm comes to the left hip to keep that left hip grounded into the floor as the right hand pushes into the thigh, and then that right thigh is going to push back. So what you kind of want to be looking for here is, again, keeping the pelvis, the pelvic bowl, a part of the trunk, as opposed to getting into like a push that is going to pull this left hip up and kind of contort the whole lower half. So really being clear and firm through the abdomen. And you might even reach your fingertips over to the right side. And as you're pressing the right palm into the thigh and the thigh presses back, you can really feel the side waist get very strong and firm. And that's what we're looking for. Contracting through that side chain. And then go ahead and relax. You can waggle the knee now. It's nice to keep the hips pretty steady, but the knee itself might have a little more range of motion. And then bringing that leg back in, pressing that heel up, lowering the leg down one last time with a little hover, letting that leg hover just above the floor, a couple of inches, and letting the left arm hover just above the floor overhead. So taking a long reach, suddenly bringing some movement to the left side, lengthening, reaching that armpit upwards, letting that natural rotation of the scapula on the back body reach away from the heel, and then finally letting that leg float down, letting that arm float down, shake out the toes, see if you can really release the tissue in that hip and the leg, and then we're going to take all of that with the left side. So the right foot comes to the floor, left knee comes towards the chest, ankle circles. Noticing the bones, the tissues, the other way, feeling the rest of the body yielding back with gravity. Isolating this right leg for a time. Flexing, pointing, articulating as much as you can. Pushing through the toes and then drawing the toes back, and then the rest of the foot. And then pressing that heel up to the sky, taking a measure of how things are feeling, bending the knee, flexing the ankle, extending the knee, pointing the toes. Up and down a few times. Breath is steady. And then let's go ahead and turn this into the bicycle motion, letting that leg come down, drawing the knee in, pressing the heel up, lowering down, and then reversing direction, adding that pointing, flexing of the ankle, feeling the rest of the body heavy and strong, heavy and firm. And then finally letting that leg just pause for a moment, feeling that thigh bone dropping back into the hip socket, and then letting that knee bend, resting on the opposite letting that ankle rest on the opposite knee. Right hand to the right hip to keep the trunk honest. Left hand to the left thigh, press. So creating that isometric contraction, perhaps checking in with the left obliques, the waist, feeling the firmness of the left side chain in contraction. Breathing, make sure you're not holding your breath here. And then eventually let that leg go, waggle the knee, let it shake out a little bit. And then rotating the knee back towards your face, chin, pressing the leg up. And reaching the right arm overhead as the left arm reaches away. So there's a hovering, some space underneath that left thigh. Again, breathing firm in the right foot and the rest of the trunk supporting the limbs as they reach. Leg finally comes all the way down, arm returns back down, letting that shoulder blade awareness, right? Feeling into what is it like to have broad, soft shoulders, working back with gravity. Now, we're going to let the arms open wide, taking a gentle twist from side to side. I'm not even letting my thighs come all the way to the floor. I'm just letting them rock back and forth a little bit, getting a side to side twist in the spine. If you prefer to take a twist and pause, feel free to. I prefer moving back and forth. It always feels a little fragile in my sacrum, so I'm just taking care there. I'm going to use this next one where the knees come to the side to roll over onto my side and press up so that we can come onto hands and knees. So we're going to take, I'm just going to change this so I can angles better. We're going to take something I call spinal flow, and you are going to make some decisions about how much or how little you want to do here. So I'm starting from what we call table. I do have this blanket under my wrists as well, just to help take a little bit of the 90-degree flexion out of my wrists. They get a little tired. You might try the same. Alternatively, you could roll up the front of your mat. And then the knees are under the hips. And I'm going to push my hips back, active in my wrists. I'm even going to draw my palms up off of the floor. So I'm activating my forearms. Letting the spine round here for a moment. And then I'm going to press into my feet, shins, and palms, the heel of the hand, and pull my weight forward. Coming back to table, pushing back to child's pose. And letting this be smooth and steady, maybe an in breath coming forward. Exhale back, maybe tucking the toes, giving the ball of the foot and the toes a stretch if that's skillful. It's not required. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. Inhale, drawing the weight forward, active through the arms and the legs. This time I'm going to take a circle with my hips around to the right and back, and then drop on the left, and then go back on the left, and draw myself forward on the right. And then gently rocking the hips back. Here we're going to come to child's pose and take a few breaths into the back body. A few ideas. I like to stack my fists here and let my forehead rest on the stacked fists to bring the head up a little bit. But I like to have my spine really kind of rounded with my thighs closer together. Some of you may find that you like to turn the direction of your knees open and make room to come down further. This can be nice if there's belly or chest
needs, right? If you have more than I do, letting yourself relax forward, making space between the thighs can be a nice accommodation.
You'll also see child's pose where folks have their spine trunk on the chest, I'm sorry, on the thighs, and the arms by your side
Coming back this way. And that's another alternative, right? So there are really lots and different ways to practice child's pose. Again, finding one that suits your body and suits the time of day, the feeling sense you have for what you need in the moment. And once you've found the posture that suits you now, go ahead and take a few breaths. See if you can breathe fully. It might be the side body expanding or the back body expanding. If you have your knees wide, you may have access to more of the belly breath. But see if you can develop as much 360-degree breathing as you can. So it's the whole trunk expanding. And from here, we're going to come
all the way onto the abdomen. So reaching the hands out, drawing the weight forward once again, supporting yourselves, lowering the body down to the floor. Now letting the hands come underneath the forehead here, letting the armpits have some room, the elbows relaxing away. For some of us, sometimes depending if our lives are spent in chairs a lot or bent over, like if we have a lot of time in flexion in the daily living, we may begin to feel like this is almost like a back bend, right? Having the front body opened out and stretched this way with the load of our bodies, right? The bones are getting drawn out in a long line. So just noticing that for yourselves. Also feel free to cushion yourselves on your bellies. We're going to press up to Sphinx pose, which is a back bend. And what we want to think about doing before we move is contracting. So I'm actually going to take a breath in, and on my out breath, I'm going to reach back through my toes, press the front of my thighs and hips down, press my hands down, and bring my elbows under my shoulders. And then reaching the crown of the head away from the tailbone like a long arc. But here's Sphinx pose, right? You can imagine. Reaching back through the toes, taking some time here to feel into the elbows under the shoulders, the back ribs are spread wide, the shoulder blades are spread wide, breathing in and out. Let's take one more breath here. And then on your next out breath, lower yourself down with control. So breath in and pressing down to lower the body. So I'm really kind of actively resisting gravitational pull to lower myself down with control. And then let's go ahead and bend the knees and rock the feet from side to side like they're windshield wipers. Just releasing that low back and massaging the front of the thighs a little bit, the front of the hips, the abdomen. And then we're going to let the feet come down. We're going to come back onto our backside. So if you wanted to press back towards table, back to child's pose, releasing that back for a moment, you'd be welcome to. And then we're actually going to come onto the back and take knees to chest. So it's a similar shape, new or different relationship to gravity, right? So this is exactly child's pose yet again, but we've got ankles, knees, and hips up. It's always a good alternative if you find yourself in a yoga class and they say, okay, we're going to come to child's pose, but you find that's uncomfortable on the joints. Coming onto your back and bringing knees to chest is a great option. And just rocking the knees from side to side, massaging the low back. We're going to let the left foot come back to the floor and let that right leg extend. Now, if you have a yoga strap or a TheraBand, something like that, you'd be welcome to use it. I'm demonstrating without because I don't want to assume you have all the tools, and you really can do this whole practice with the hands holding on to the thighs, or not even, right? We can just let gravity, right, really do its job. But if you had a band and you wanted to, you could put the band over the sole of the foot and flex the ankle. From here, I'm going to press the outside edge of my foot towards the ceiling, the outer blade, and then the inner blade. So it's a little bit of eversion and inversion of the ankle. You might notice that sensations then may run up and down through the calf or through the outside edge of your leg. So just easing into it. We really want to keep breathing here rather than holding our breath in concentration. And again, as we were doing for the first part of the class, I'm now going to take my right hand to the outside of my right thigh and let that leg open. But what often happens is people see that leg opening and they think the point is to get the foot to the floor. But do you see, that's just going to take my trunk, my spine. I'm putting a lot of twisting here, and it's not very well supported. So if I make an effort here before opening the leg to really firm that left hip down and find a height where my leg can relax open, but I'm maintaining this quality of squaring the hips to the floor. The floor is great feedback for this. It gives us a chance to feel the trunk as a unit and the leg opening out to the side. And you might point the toes, you might flex the ankle. That's up to you. You may notice different sensations, things feel more or less appealing. And just taking a couple of breaths here. And then I'm going to bring my leg up to center. If you were using strap, you could pass both sides of the strap to the one hand and use the elbow on the floor. So now I'm going to switch. I'm going to use the left hand to support my inner thigh, let my right arm open. And I like taking that eversion, inversion stretch here as well. There's a lot of sensation in my body. You may or may not have a similar experience. But I find this stretch can be really nice for loosening up the leg on the whole. So that little outer blade forward, inner blade forward. And again, we've crossed the midline. The leg is like 15, 20 degrees across the middle. That may feel like enough for you. That's quite a big stretch in that outer hip. Some of you may find that you want to let the leg come over further, in which case supporting with that left arm, the left elbow is on the floor, letting it come into a deeper reach, maybe letting the head turn in the opposite direction, and breathing. And then when you're ready, coming back to center, folding that right knee down. Take a moment to notice, how does the right leg feel versus the left leg? And then drawing the left leg up, hands might come behind the thigh, outer blade presses to the ceiling, inner blade presses upward. It might feel more just like the big toe is pushing up or something like that. But following your breath, checking in with the trunk, and letting the eyes close if that feels interesting to you, letting the breath be steady, feeling the body in relationship to the floor, feeling the weight of the bones. When you're ready, bringing that left hand to the left thigh, elbow to the floor, or like I said, if you have a strap, you could hold the strap with the left hand as you open out, right hand to the right hip, keeping square in the hips, letting that leg open only so far as you can, feeling like you can maintain a square sensation through, it's really through the whole right side, right? That foot might press down, hip drawn down towards the floor, support from the left hand, letting that thigh relax back into the hip socket, letting there be sort of a passive stretch to that inner thigh. And then coming up to center, supporting the leg. Now receiving the weight of the left leg with the right fingers. Elbow comes down. Maybe again, eversion, inversion of the foot. And again, that's a suggestion. If you find that's more sensation than you feel like you want to have, hanging out there, breathing, letting this move further if you like, letting that right knee come all the way down, adjusting the right palm, taking a moment here to feel that leg long, reaching out through the heel. If you had a strap, you could be holding on with that right hand. You could also put a pillow under that foot. And some of you may feel quite happy with bringing that leg all the way to touch and resting. That's also an option. Depends on the degree to which you feel comfortable twisting in that spine. I find there's something really nice about not going all the way into something, but pausing just shy and getting to relax there. I'm going to come back with a little knee bend, bringing both knees to the chest one more time, gentle rocking back and forth. And then letting one foot come down and then the other, letting the feet walk out, the thighs fall together. We're just going to close here with 3 quiet breaths in constructive rest pose with the legs. So letting the legs relax towards each other. You're also welcome to extend the legs to the floor. I like this version because it allows my low back to stay long and soft, letting the eyes close, taking 3 quiet breaths. See if you can let your exhalation be longer than your inhalation. If you have the time to remain here in relaxation, you're welcome to. If you are preparing to move on into your day, thank you for joining me, filling your cup so that you can fill the cups of others. And I hope you feel like gravity and the breath were constant companions and allowed you to restore and reconnect to yourselves. Thank you so much. I look forward to being with you again soon.